CSGO just can't compare. Or can it? At point blank range against unarmoured enemies, the Mp7 from CSGO actually deals more damage than the Mp5 from Source. In fact, the Mp5 can only inflict the same amount of damage as CSGO's cheap Mp9. At a range of 1024 units, about as far as you'd like to shoot an SMG from, things get even worse for the Mp5. It now does less damage than the Mp9. The Mp7 does even more again. On to armour. At point blank, things get even worse for the Mp5. It's already behind the Mp9, and the Mp7 beats both. And at 1024 units against armour, all of the SMGs are useless. But particularly the Mp5. Okay, so it doesn't win for damage. What about accuracy? The bullet decals look very different in Source from how they are in CSGO, but despite that you can still see that the Mp5 is by far the worst. Crouching improves things, but it's still worse at hitting that first shot than either of the SMGs from CSGO are even when standing. The Mp9 impressed me here, beating even the more expensive Mp7. Spray patterns finally give the Mp5 a sort of selling point. The ones in CSGO require a lot of compensation to cancel out the recoil pattern, but if you do that properly, then you're rewarded with an accurate spray. The Mp5 doesn't have a large recoil pattern, but the bullets are a lot more random. This makes it easier for noobs to use, but the SMGs in CSGO reward players who learn the recoil pattern. If the Mp7 and 9 are the M4 and AUG, then the Mp5 is the FAMAS. Less recoil, but lower damage and skill ceiling. Running and gunning. What SMGs are born to do. At a distance of 512 units, the Mp7 wins by a mile. The Mp9 and 5's patterns are similar sizes, but the Mp9's recoil pattern can be compensated for, making it better. The Mp5 loses again. However, at least with the Mp5 you can run at a speed of 250 units. The Mp9 slows you down to 240 and the Mp7 down to just 220. But remember that things were different in Source, since you could also run at full 250 speed with a pistol out as well. CSGO is a lot slower in comparison. When it comes to equipping the weapon, the Mp5 is ready in the shortest length of time. It also takes about 1/10 of a second less time to reload than the Mp7, but the Mp9 beats them both by almost a second. For fire rate, I worked it out at being 783 RPM for the Mp5 and 7 and 891 for the Mp9. The important thing is that the Mp5 is identical to the Mp7 in this regard, though it's interesting to point out that the Mp9 does more damage, fires faster, and has the potential to also be more accurate than the Mp5 if used properly. Ammo capacity is exactly the same for all weapons. And lastly, the cost. The Mp5 sits between the Mp7 and Mp9 at $1,500. But I think it's safe to say that if the Mp5 was included in CSGO, nobody would use it. It's worse than the more modern SMG choices in almost every way. I think we should all apologise to the Mp7. Go on, apologise to it. I'm waiting. Okay, I'll do it for you. I'm sorry Mp7, you're a lot better than the Mp5 and we were wrong to doubt you. Please don't hate us. So what the hell is going on? Why is the Mp5 remembered so fondly? It could just be that the game has changed. Perhaps pistols have become more powerful and have invaded a purpose previously reserved for SMGs. It's not that these cheap automatic weapons have gotten worse. In fact, it's quite the opposite. But they still haven't improved at the same rate as other choices. So I guess after all that we were right to prefer the Mp5 over the SMGs in CSGO. I take back what I said earlier, Mp7. Go screw yourself.